There is a truth in life that many people often forget. Not everything that looks sweet, easy, or comfortable is true happiness. Sometimes what makes us feel the most secure is also the invisible trap that locks us in, day by day, until we no longer have the strength to break free. The story of a little mouse falling into a jar of rice may sound simple, even childish at first glance. Yet hidden within it lies a profound lesson about temptation, complacency, and the unseen dangers that surround our lives. Listen carefully, because perhaps, somewhere in this story, you may see a reflection of your own journey. On a quiet night, under the pale silver light of the moon, a small mouse crept silently around a poor family's kitchen. This little creature was always searching for scraps of food, tiny crumbs of bread, leftover rice grains, or anything edible that humans might have left behind. Life for a stray mouse was never easy. Every day was filled with struggles, running from cats, dodging human traps, and working hard just to find the smallest bite of food. Hunger and fear were constant companions, but fate had a surprise in store. One fateful evening, while wandering near an old clay jar, the mouse slipped and fell straight inside. At first it panicked, scratching and squeaking, afraid that it had landed in a trap. Yet as its tiny eyes adjusted, it saw something unbelievable. The jar was half filled with white, fragrant rice. The mouse froze for a moment, its heart pounding. Then slowly an overwhelming joy spread across its face. It thought to itself, "Could this be real? Have I just stumbled into heaven?" The following days were unlike anything the mouse had ever known. Instead of scurrying for food, it now found itself surrounded by abundance. Every morning, it could nibble a few grains, filling its stomach to satisfaction. Every night, it curled up and slept soundly, free from the fear of predators. Its life had fallen into the easiest routine imaginable: eat, then sleep, sleep, then eat. The mouse began to grow smug. While other mice still ran around frantically scavenging for scraps, it had found its paradise. It would often think, "How lucky I am. While others live in fear and hunger, I can enjoy endless food and safety. I no longer need to worry about anything." To the little mouse, the rice jar was not just a safe place. It was the dream it had been chasing its whole life. It believed it had discovered the shortcut to happiness. But what the mouse didn't realize was that its so-called paradise was slowly turning into a prison. The rice jar empties. Temptation holds tight. Day after day, the mouse kept eating, and day after day, the level of rice in the jar grew lower and lower. Sometimes it noticed that the grains beneath its feet seemed fewer than before, but instead of worrying, it brushed the thought aside. "There's still so much left. Why should I bother? This will last forever." And so it continued eating, blinded by the sweetness of the present moment. But one day, after yet another heavy meal, the mouse looked around and froze. The once half-filled jar now contained only a thin layer of rice scattered across the bottom. Its heaven was almost gone. Panic gripped the mouse. It quickly tried to jump out of the jar. But from the bottom, the rim looked impossibly high. Once, when the jar was fuller, it could have easily climbed onto the rice and leapt to freedom. But now, with the rice nearly gone, the walls towered above like a fortress. It jumped, scratched, and clawed. But every attempt failed. Its belly, swollen from overeating, weighed it down. Its muscles, weak from days of laziness, no longer had the strength they once did. Breathless and exhausted, the mouse collapsed. It realized with horror that what it once called paradise had become a prison with no escape. The few remaining grains of rice offered only temporary comfort. Deep down, it knew its time was running out. With regret in its heart, it whispered to itself, "If only I had left earlier. If only I had not been blinded by comfort. If only I had prepared for tomorrow." But regret always comes too late. The mouse's story ended there, in the very jar it had once celebrated as the happiest place in the world. The lesson of the sweet trap. Though simple, this story carries a timeless truth. In life, we are often tempted by our own versions of the rice jar. It could be a job that feels comfortable but stops us from growing. It could be habits that bring us ease but weaken our spirit. It could even be relationships or lifestyles that seem safe but quietly rob us of our freedom and future. Like the mouse, many people settle down too soon, thinking they have found permanent security. They stop learning, stop striving, stop pushing themselves. They don't notice that the rice they rely on is slowly running out. Health deteriorates, opportunities fade, time slips away. And when they finally realize the truth, they may no longer have the strength, courage, or time to climb out. The story of the mouse in the rice jar reminds us, life is never completely safe. The moment you believe you are secure forever is the moment danger begins to creep in. Comfort can be the deadliest trap. The easier life feels, the more alert we must remain. Always prepare for tomorrow. Do not be blinded by the sweetness of today's rice while forgetting that one day it will run out. True wisdom is not in seeking a life without effort, but in building the strength and foresight to handle whatever comes. The real heaven is not in hiding inside a rice jar, but in learning to face challenges with resilience and courage.